So we have all probably heard of this before, that fashion moves in circles. That's why vintage tees are popular, ripped jeans are popular, plaid flannels are popular, and that's why today the mullet is popular. And you may have noticed walking down the grocery store aisle, you've seen people with mullets. And in today's video, we're gonna be doing a mullet, but we're gonna throw a modern spin on it. So let's get to it.
Clear out the room, I'm coming through. They wanna see what I'm about. Yeah, I got skills, do it for the thrill. I'm on a paper route. Extra, read about it. I'm today's trending topic.
YouTube, what is good? Let's get right into this haircut. So we're gonna start off by dampening the client's hair. I want to make sure that I get it nice and saturated, so when I start creating my parts and cutting, it doesn't dry out. So I'm gonna start off by creating 3 sections, one on the left side of his head, one in the middle of his head, and then one on the right side of his head. And when creating these parts, I'm trying to make sure that I'm making them as clean and as even as possible, and this is just so I can stay nice and organized. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab that middle section and pull that up. And we're going to be taking off a decent amount of this client's hair. So we're taking off almost 2 inches here. I would say more so 1.5 inches. And we're going to follow this straight back. And this middle part is going to act as our reference point or our guideline when trimming the rest of the hair. So as you can see, as I move back, I can see where the difference in length is. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut all the excess. I'm pointing it out right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that. And then after I complete that middle section, I'm gonna comb it all over to the right. And now I'm gonna pull the hair up all together. And as you can see the difference in length right here. And we're just gonna trim all of it to the same length. And I found this system to be the easiest and the most efficient way to stay organized while trimming the top without getting lost. You know what I'm saying? And the scissor work is really what the mullet haircut is all about, because to be honest, anyone can do a fade on the side, a little taper, but if you really want to make your mullet look good, you have to know what you're doing with the shears. So I'm just following that all the way to the back. And now after we complete that right side, I'm going to take a section of that and comb it over to his left side. So as you can see, I did that right here. And just like how we did on the other side, we're going to use that middle guideline as our reference point. And now we're going to take horizontal sections going straight up to the front of the head, making sure that these sections are as clean as I can get them. And right there, you can see where the middle guideline was at. And now we're going to trim everything to that desired length. Super simple, super easy. It's just a matter of doing it over and over until you get more comfortable. And as you can see, I'm not going to the back yet. That's because he still wants to grow his mullet out a little more. So we're not going to do too much to the back, but we have to shorten up the top. So that's why we're doing the top right now. And we're staying real clean here, taking clean parts and making sure that we're staying organized and not getting lost in the hair. And you can see as I'm staying patient and clean that this trim is coming out very nice. I know early on when I was learning how to use the scissors, I would try to get through this part as quick as possible so the client wouldn't notice I don't know what I'm doing. But you want to make sure that you're learning on every haircut. So take your time, be patient. And after trimming the top, we're going to go ahead and make sure that his fringe area is nice and even. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that down and just make sure that all of it is even, because this is how his hair is naturally going to lay. He's not really going to style it. It's just going to fall forward. So I want to make sure that it sits nicely. And now for the back, I'm not taking off too much length here. I'm just trying to, even everything out, get rid of the ends. So that's what I'm doing right here. Because as you can see, the top of his mullet is a lot longer than the bottom, and he wants to make sure that all of that is even. So I'm just pulling out and trying to make it as even as possible. Make sure that it's nice and clean. So I'm starting with the middle, and then I'm gonna take a piece of that middle section and move over to his right, and that's gonna be our reference point or our guideline. And again, we're not doing too much back here, just cleaning it up. And now after we do the trim, we want to make sure that we dry the hair. So this client has curly hair, and I want to make sure that it's drying in its natural position. So I'm using the diffuser to really make his curls pop. And now we're gonna move on to the sides. So we're gonna start off by debulking the sides with a number 4. So you'll see right here that I'm being very careful. I don't want to take it up too high here, but I'm just using this number 4 to kind of get rid of all that length so I can start this taper, because this is exactly what this haircut is gonna be. It's not gonna be anything crazy. It's just like a mid taper that you would do on somebody who didn't have a mullet, you know what I'm saying? But now we're gonna start and create our bald line at right where the eyebrow ends and where the ear connects to the head, and we're gonna bald that out. Now we're gonna follow it up with the shaver. And really, the mullet haircut is all in the shear work. This right here is what we do on an everyday basis: tapers, fades. So right after creating that bald line, I'm going to come in with my lever all the way open on my JRLs. And these are 0 gapped. I'm trying to give it, that nice burst shape. And now to get rid of that line, I'm going to come in closed. And as I move up in that guideline, I go ahead and open up that lever. So I'm closed here. Then I'm going to open that lever slightly, as you just seen. Now I'm going to open it up slightly more, or a little more, sorry. And that should pretty much get rid of the line. And now we're going to go on to the next step with the number 1 guard all the way open. And we're going to go up about the same distance here, about a 1/2 inch. Keeping that same shape where it kind of bursts. And now to lighten that line up, I went ahead and closed that lever. It's not going to get rid of it fully, but it just lightened it up. Now we're going to come in with our 1/2 guard to fully get rid of that line. So we're coming in open, and then we'll gradually close that lever as needed. And after we worked out that line, we're going to move on to our 2 guard with the lever all the way open. And with this, we're going to go up slightly higher than that 1/2 inch. So I would say I'm going up more of a 1 inch here. And again, this is my lever all the way open. I'm not trying to create too harsh of a line. I'm flicking up as I get towards the top. And now to get rid of that line that I just pointed out, I'm going to come in with my 1.5 guard open. And then we're going to close it gradually as needed, just like we did with the 1/2 guard. So I went ahead and closed it right here. We're just trying to blend into that 2 guard open. And you can slowly see it start to come together. And now we're going to blend into the weight on the top and the sides. So I'm using my clipper over comb just to debulk and get rid of all that excess hair. I'm being careful though, because I don't want to take off any big chunks. I'm just trying to debulk it. And now I'm going to come back here with my 4 guard. And I'm coming off the shape of his head, making sure that I'm not digging into the back of the mullet too much. I don't want to go any further than the back of his ear. And now to soften everything up, I'm going to come in with my thinning shears. And this is really going to bring that transition from that taper up into the length on the top and sides together. I'm coming in with the comb and then flaring out slightly as I move up. And you can see how it's all coming together here. Now I grab my 1.5 to go ahead and detail just a little more. Being real patient, just seeing what works and what doesn't. I'm not rushing the process. And now we're gonna go ahead and line up his arch area. So I want to start at the top of the arch and then go to the bottom and meet it in the middle, and that's how I'm gonna get that nice round shape. And now to line up behind his ear, we're not gonna go all the way to the bottom as if we were doing a regular taper. We kind of want to stop behind his ear. So I'm just cleaning that up, keeping it as natural as possible. I comb those hairs out of the way so I don't cut them. And I wanted to go ahead and line it up before I move on to the other side, because the lineup acts as the framework to the blend. So it's gonna bring out any imperfections that I might need to go back in detail. But as you can see, that taper came out really clean. Now we're gonna go ahead to the other side and do the same exact thing. So we're starting off with that number 4 guard, debulking all that hair on the sides. And I'm being very careful with this number 4 because I don't want to take off too much hair. That's why you see me going in, combing down, going in and combing down. And now I'm kind of freehanding here, coming off the shape of his head, because I seen that number 4 wasn't doing too much. And that debulked the sides very nicely. So now we're going to start the taper. So we're starting at the end of the eyebrow, and then we're going to round it out to where the ear connects to the head. And then we're just going to bald it out. Very simple, very easy. And again, my trimmers are 0 gapped, and now we're gonna follow it up with our shaver to get it nice and close to the skin. And just like on the other side, we're gonna follow that same system, the same steps, with the lever all the way open, and then the 1 guard open, then the 2 guard open, and then clipper over comb, shear over comb. So I'm gonna let you guys follow along and put the pieces to the puzzle together yourself, and then I'll hop back on here in a few minutes. Alright, so now I'm gonna hop back on here. So right here, this is our number 2 guard open, and we're going up about 1 inch here, flaring out drastically because we don't want to create any harsh lines. And you'll see that I'm combing the hair down as after I pass the guards, and that's because I want to make sure that I get a nice and even cut and that it's blended well. And then right under that 2 guard open, I'm gonna come in with my 1.5 guard here. And when I'm doing these tapers, I'm using a lot of the corner of the blade, and that's so I can get into those dark areas a lot easier, and it'll prevent me from taking off too much hair. So I'm using the corner of that 1 guard here to get rid of the lines that the 1.5 couldn't get. And just like on the other side, we're gonna do some clipper over comb. So I'm coming in with the comb and then flaring out slightly. And this isn't gonna be blended perfectly. This is just to debulk the sides. And now to go ahead and bring everything together, we're gonna use our thinning shears here. And this is really just gonna soften everything up. I'm telling you, man, these thinning shears will change your life. Not necessarily the ones I have, but thinning shears in general. They really help when blending into bulk. And now we're gonna go ahead and line up the arches and behind his ears. So I'm gonna start at the top of the arch, and then I'm gonna go to the bottom and connect it in the middle, just like we did with the other side. And this is gonna allow me to get that nice C shape without digging into the hair too much. And you can see when you put the line on there, it really makes that taper pop. And then we're gonna clean up behind the ear just a little bit, keeping it as natural as possible. You don't want to take this up too high. And And you'll see I'm combing that hair out the way. And then we're going to detail that taper a little bit. And that thing came out clean, family. So we're going to hit it with the razor to make sure that we give them the, you know, the crispiest C possible. Crispiest arch possible. And now to go ahead and polish this haircut up, we're going to use some product. This is a Slick Gorilla volumizing powder. And we're going to go ahead and just sprinkle it in his hair. It looks like cocaine, I know, but I promise it ain't. And then we're going to use some clay from Slick Gorilla as well. And we're just going to work that into the hair. And this is going to give it a nice natural look. It'll look as if he has no product in there, but it's going to give it a nice hold, a nice texture. And we're just going to play with it, get it worked in there. And I think the mullet is clean, man. It's a new look to an old school style, you know what I'm saying? But family, this is how my man came in looking. And this is how we left leaving. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And again, drop a comment down below if you thought this haircut was fire. Give me a follow on Instagram at Dreclipperhands. But again, family, I will catch y'all next time.